Blessed rising. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see everyone. Good to see your faces. Thank you for continuing to support this movement. We are going to International Women's Day next year, which is March 8th, and we will gather in a summit online. We are seeing, I am getting notes anyway from folks who, whether it's through our social media channel or they go and watch this afterwards or they're on here, are shifting in their life, are making brave and courageous choices for peace. So I'm so grateful. I just say gratitude, gratitude, gratitude to the universe, gratitude to the ancestors, gratitude to the creator. Welcome, Janelle. We have not seen you on here. I don't believe we've seen you on Women for Peace. So welcome, welcome, welcome to all the new faces and to our sister Jacqueline, who continues to come and support. It is just absolutely beautiful. I want to start this morning off in a way that I know is important. I'm in Toronto, so I am on the territories of people, the indigenous peoples who have been here from the beginning, whose land this belongs to, the First Nations, diverse First Nations, Inuit and Métis people, here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, the traditional territories of those peoples, are the Wendat, the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee people, and the Mississaugas of the Credit, and many other nations. So I just give thanks. I think it's always so important for me to acknowledge that this land, I'm here as a settler. While my ancestors didn't come here and settle voluntarily, I certainly did, and many people after me and many people within my generations. I acknowledge also that as a woman of African descent, there are many, 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 many millions of Africans who came over to this side of the world in shackles as enslaved people to build wealth of the Western world and the Western world's capitals, and their wealth is built on the backs and on the body, on the bones and the blood of the people of my ancestors. So I always want to make sure that I acknowledge my ancestors. I invite you to acknowledge your own ancestors. I'm going to pour libation. It's one of the ways as African people that we start anything important, and this is important. These conversations are important. So I'm going to pour libation. I'm using the good old Jamaican Ray and his nephew rum this morning for all our Jamaican ancestors and our Caribbean people who are on here. You're very familiar with this rum, and others too. And so I want to pour for the many, many, many women, who were unable before they left this planet, their bodies left, to experience peace, whose peace was taken away from them, who did not have the tools or the abilities or the facilities to experience peace in their lives and to stand for peace. So I pour for them. I pour for all the mothers who have gone before us. I pour libation this morning for my direct ancestors, Carisha Sherilyn Smith, Veronica Claudette Moody, my grandmother Silda, my great grandmother Testa. And I invite you to open up your mute buttons and call the name of your ancestors. If you feel like you want to do that, you can certainly speak to them from in silence. So I'm pouring libation now for all the ancestors of
Minette
all the women
Pearson,
who are circling.
Minette Pearson, Ken Pearson,
Eshe,
Hudson,
Jen Davis,
Miss
eshe,
Wade,
Lydia
eshe,
Lydia,
Anderson.
eshe,
Miss
eshe,
Fox,
eshe, 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 eshe. And we know, ancestors, when we call one of your name, we call all. And so we say, drink, 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 and get your thirst. Ashe, 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 ashe. Alafia, alafia, alafia. And so we begin. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. Welcome, welcome. I see Zaida. Yes, and Sada. Listen, if I'm not pronouncing your name properly, you just send it in the text or say to me, "This is not the way I pronounce your name, my name," and I will do my very best. Vera, welcome. Vivika, welcome. So, just for those, because we have a number of people on here that I've not seen before. So, for your purpose, I just want to let you know that as we circle for this 75 minutes, 70 minutes, we're doing that in a what we call and what we're holding as a brave space. This is a brave space. This is a sacred space because we name it to be so. This is a judgment free space. This is a space of liberty and high vibration. Before we even start this Zoom conversation, we've called in all the great spirits, and I have lifted up the vibration of this experience. So this is high vibration place. I ask that you share. This is a conversation, but just do so as best as you can from a place of curiosity and compassion and respect, and avoid judgment. Please take care of yourself. This is a trauma informed experience. You speak as much or as little as you want. You take care of yourself in the process. Honor everyone's process because we're in different places. And please remember your power. Remember your power. This is a place of empowerment. The methodology that I teach with, I live with, no matter where I am, no matter what I'm teaching, what I'm doing, or what the conversation is a through a non-colonial lens, and indigenized philosophies and practices, just to make sure that you know where we're coming from. And we do as much introspection for intention and implementation. We've been running these circles since March last year. We launched in March and we started the circles in April. And so once a month we come on and we join force and we have conversations. We're looking at probably shifting from Saturdays to Wednesday evening, just to allow, we're getting feedback. There are lots of folks who are running around with their children and doing things on Saturday morning. It's only time to do stuff. So maybe Wednesday evening would be better. We're going to try it and see what happens. Last month, we did a brave thing and we went live on Facebook. We ain't doing that again. Simply because we thought many women didn't come on because we were going live on Facebook, and this is so we're going to keep it intimate. We're going to stay here. And then what we will do is share the conversation on our YouTube channel that is going up sometime soon. So that folks can have it. And the people, I think we are at 70 odd folks on our list now. So we will always send it out so people can get a chance to do that instead of putting it going live on Facebook. Last month, we talked about self-preservation as a pathway to peace. And we looked at two key principles. One was self-knowing and really looking at our purpose. Why are we here? Why are we on this planet at this time? Shared some specific questions to reflect on. We got a lot of tools and understanding from all the women who were circling with us. And then the second was protecting our peace. That's the most important thing. And a one way to protect our peace is to surrender to joy, to choose joy in every single moment. How is this bringing me joy? This month, we are focusing on acceptance, the power of acceptance. And so my intention is to share some tools with you But I want to start with a little bit of brief centering. But before I do that, I've talked a lot. So is there anything that anybody want to share? Somebody, Julius says that this is my first session in the circle. I just wanted to check in if it's okay for me to join the circle. I am a white settler. So, Julia, you are absolutely welcome to join the circle. If you were not welcome, we would have said no white people, please. We did not say that in our promo, and therefore you are absolutely welcome in the circle.
Thank you. I just wanted to check in because I did not want to impose, and
We respect
I'm
and honor.
honored and privileged to share, to be in this space. Thank you.
Thank you. And you know, we have a man by the name of David Lewis Spirit that pops in and holds space with us for this movement. And so while we said this is for women identified people, David comes in sometimes and holds space, and we usually check and make sure that everybody's still okay with David holding space. I haven't seen him this morning, so he might not be here. So, you know, again, this is a space where you can say, I don't want David, but in terms of women, identified people, we invite all. So thank you for asking that question. So, anything else? Anything else before we go into a little bit of centering? All right, all right. Right where you are. If you can, if you're sitting and you're able to place your feet grounded on the earth, grounded on the floor under you, do so. If you can, that's okay. Go into whatever position is comfortable for you. For some people, it's semi-lotus position. Some people, it's standing. Some people, it's walking. Some people, it's lying. Whatever is comfortable for you is where I invite you to go this morning. So get yourself centered. Beautifully centering yourself through the breath. Nice, gentle inhale and releasing to your own rhythm. Close your eyes if you're comfortable with that, but if not, just find a spot in your room where you are, find a color, and just focus on that color. Look around your room and just identify a color or an object and focus on that, or certainly close your eyes. Nice deep breath in. Again, focus on your navel. If you can, just bring all of your attention to your navel. And nice deep inhale from your navel and releasing it through the top of your head as though there's an opening. And we breathe. And just let your breath lead you and consciously inhale and exhale. And just breathe. Just breathe. I want you to bring all of your attention now, all of your attention to your chest area, intending to open your heart, softening your heart, yet having it firm. All of your attention to your heart. And you breathe. And we breathe. And we breathe. And relaxing in that great, beautiful vibration of love and peace, the Om energy. Deep inhale and long exhale, and we breathe. Imagine, if you can, this beautiful emerald, shiny, beautiful rock, this emerald. Make it as large or as small as you want. That beautiful green, it is so rich. It is so rich. Imagine the richness of that emerald green and bring it into your vibration as though it's washing all over you from your heart. Deep breath in with that emerald of love, and we breathe. Focusing on that green, shiny, rich emerald color, and we breathe. And we breathe. If you can imagine the smell of beautiful, fresh roses, beautiful, fresh rose, red, beautiful, fresh rose. If you can smell it, bring it to your attention. And in that smell, also, if you know the smell of sandalwood, that gentle yet earthy smell, bring that smell to your attention now. And we breathe. Feeling, sensing that beautiful rose, seeing that beautiful, shiny emerald green, and we breathe. And just to bring that sense of taste to your lips, imagine a little bit of honey being dropped on your tongue as you take that breath in and you breathe. Awakening all these senses, sight of beautiful emerald green, the smell of rose and sandalwood, the taste of honey on your tongue, joy, just joy, and you breathe. We breathe. Bring to your consciousness the idea of accepting that you are enough. Accepting that you are enough just where you are, just who you are, just what you are right now, this present moment. It's enough. It's enough. And we breathe. Breathe that concept in as though you are sipping it. Bright emerald green, the smell of rose and sandalwood, the taste of honey, and the knowing of acceptance, accepting that you are enough. I invite you to take this next 3 cycles of inhale and exhale with me. We're going to inhale on 4 seconds, hold for 3 seconds, exhale on 4. Nice deep breath in on 4. And one last cycle for women and girls everywhere that this morning may not feel free to breathe. This breath, this cycle is for them. Send this exhale out into your city, your country, your world, to all these girls and women who may not feel that they have the opportunity to breathe easily today. And we take this final cycle as we close this piece of the session. And we say, Om Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Ashe. And so it is. It is so. Wiggle your fingers, your toes. Do a stretch if you need to. Move your neck. And just tell your body, okay, we're back into physical space. We're back into physical space. We're back into physical space. Thank you, thank you, thank you for journeying with me on that. So I want to just hear from folks if you feel willing to speak. We are considering how this idea of acceptance of self, acceptance of situations, acceptance of circumstances, people, place, but mostly self. How does that land for you? Acceptance as a pathway to peace. How does that land for you? I often ask people to open their mute button anyway, unless you're in a place that's going to be disruptive, like there's going to be construction happening or something like that. We welcome four-legged animals, we welcome babies and children, so don't worry about that at all. Acceptance as a pathway to peace.
I feel like what it resonates for me is acknowledging where I am, making sure that I acknowledge where I am, not placing any judgment on it, not placing it as negative or positive, or not putting anything on it, just acknowledging that it's there, acknowledging how it makes me feel, and not necessarily labeling it, just not labeling it, just accepting that it's happening. More than anything.
Just being.
In that moment.
Being present. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Kamisha. Anyone else?
For me, I would say, in addition to what Kamisha shared, thank you, that I'm in this season of acceptance in this moment, and realizing that it's not, I used to think, it would be it's like a season, a phase that you go through, and then, it goes away at some point. And now I recognize that it could be a moment, it could be a season, it could be a phase, it can look like many things. And so on top of just recognizing what is, and knowing that all the other things, if I still have the capacity to still exercise everything else, the routines and life and work and all of those things, while I'm also going through acceptance of this other thing, that the two, I can go through that. I can have those moments of acceptance throughout the day until this season passes and the lesson comes and all of that. But while it's happening, I don't have to stop and like stop everything else.
Mhm.
Stop, and accept and let it sink in and all of those things. It is okay to navigate all the other responsibilities while I'm also experiencing acceptance of this situation, this condition, that the lesson, that I'm going through in this moment. And that could be a moment through the day. It could be several moments through the day. It could be the whole day. It could be a whole weekend, and it is okay.
I get that. I get that. Because sometimes we think that we're working with one principle and then we have to stay there and nothing else is happening. Because you could be in acceptance here for real and then not in acceptance of something else, right? Or journeying to acceptance of one thing, right? And be in acceptance because it's a journey, it's a flow, right? I appreciate that. Thank you, Saida. Viveka, you have your hand up.
Good morning.
Morning.
I think when I thought of acceptance, I was just thinking of acceptance of myself first. And I think that is just one of the cornerstones to know who you are, to that foundation of who you are is to accept who you are. It's one of the most challenging things to do because you have your monkey mind, you have other people giving feedback as well. But it's to get to that place of accepting who you are. This is just who I am. This is how I express myself. And it comes back to self-love as well because it ties in very well with it. And then you have acceptance of what's happening around you in politics, socially. And that's probably one of the most challenging things to do right now. There's just so many things happening that is challenging me anyway. And just accepting what is, that each person has a role to play. And that's all it is. And when they talk about this being a stage, you realize now it's really a stage. Everybody just have a role to play, and it's just for you to observe and just be in a space of love. Loving what is, because there are certain things you cannot control. There are lots of things we can control. The only person that you can control is yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, your reactions. So I definitely think acceptance is one of that foundation, one of that building block for yourself. And that's all I had to share. Thank you.
Thank you. Powerful. Thank you. Thank you. Maisha. And then Janelle. Thank you, Viveka.
Sunshine, blessings, everybody. So my name is pronounced Enyase. Do you see the red down there?
Enyase.
Yeah.
Enyase. Oh, I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Enyase. I
Yes,
feel like I
yes.
want to keep saying that all day, but I won't.
Okay, so thank you for sharing this space, this moment in time, and I give thanks for all of you. So acceptance for me is just really being able to sit down in whatever it is that I'm in, but also have the awareness that my reality is negotiable. My reality is always negotiable. And that's actually one of the statements I have here on my dream board, is that my reality is negotiable, even though I may not, or may, with the help of the ancestors, can change things outside of myself. I do own a little bit of that power because I do feel that I can change things, even though I might see that it might be unchangeable. I believe that we can make that adjustment. However, my reality is negotiable because I get to choose how I respond to what it is that I'm being faced with. And for me, that is a piece of power that I hold near and dear to my heart. So that is the thought that is going on in my world right now when we speak about acceptance.
Awesome.
Shade for that.
I'm glad that we're recording this because what you are dropping some nuggets. You've been dropping some nuggets. Kamisha started the nuggets. Aida picked up the nuggets. Vika carried it on, and then
Shade for that.
Inyanse taking it off. Oh wow, lots of nuggets. Thank you, Janelle. Share your nuggets with us, please.
Yeah, no, everything that folks have shared so far, it just like I resonate a lot to it. I also see acceptance as a journey, and for me, when you said acceptance, like the first thing that popped up for me was like when I was diagnosed with lupus. That was my kind of journey of acceptance, of like grieving my past self and just kind of being and listening and being attuned to my body and slowing it down. So that was what went for me. And like through that, how I built community of other people who I could relate to, who had similar experiences, who helped me navigate. I think that was what acceptance was for me, the journey, but the connections that I was able to make through that. Yeah.
Powerful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm loving this. Thank you so much. You have shared a lot. Nyase, did you have something else? Your hand is up, so I just want to make sure.
I never take it down. Let me take it down.
Okay, awesome. Powerful. I want to just sit with all that you have said because just truly, truly powerful, when we think about all that's happening in the world, I have those conversations with myself too. I am choosing peace. I am choosing peace in every moment. And yet, around me, all these things are happening. Close to me, far from me, further from me. But they're happening. They're happening in my sphere, in my world. And so I am choosing to find ways to create happiness in my life. For me, I will share with you, along with all that you have said, is this, for me, the resistance to accept ourselves or our situation often comes from a place of not good enough. Me not being good enough, the situation not being good enough, where I am right now not being good enough, or its polar opposite, of course, that it's too good, right? So this place that we want to get to, the center place that just where we are, just as things are, is enough. And we may have desires for more, for sure, but to accept that this moment, where I am, what my body is, where my finance is, what my politics is enough. And Carolyn Mace, if any of you are not familiar with her, it's somebody that I was introduced to early in my own spiritual journey, and I really love her work. So if you get a chance, her last name is spelled Myss. And she says the only reason we ever want to have something is because we think it will help us to be something which reflects the deeply rooted belief that who we are and what we are right now is not enough.
Excuse me.
Well, that sneeze, the ancestor says we sneeze because it's right. Yeah? So I'm gonna take it sneeze, a sneeze is it's right. It's right. Okay. True word, right? True word. Thanks everybody. I was trying to remember what is a true word. We say true word. Hello, Mikhailo. Everybody, this is my grandson, Mikhailo, and that is his mother. My daughter.
Everybody's having a good day.
We're having a good day. Thank you, Mikhailo. Thank you.
Hi, Mikhailo.
Everybody say hi.
Hi.
Okay.
Hi.
Bye.
Bye. So between the sneeze and Mikalo, we're thinking that what Carolyn May said is true. You know, we're always looking for something else. So I feel in that the resolution is acceptance. I want to talk about two principles today to support this place of acceptance as we are all journeying, or we're all journeying to be in that place where we accept all things, right? Because I know I do a lot of work towards that, but I can't say to you right now today, I accept everything. I accept everything as it is when it comes. You know, it's a journey. It's a journey. Situations happen. I have to work myself into that. You know, and some days it's easier. Sometimes I can get to it in 3 seconds. Sometimes it takes me 3 days. You know, my hope is that I will get to that place where I can get to acceptance in all things in 3 seconds. But I am not there yet. So I want to share with you some of the ways that help me to get there quicker. And one is intimacy. Intimacy, intimacy, to see myself, to allow to get intimate with me, to get intimate with who I am, right? Into me see that place of intimacy as a tool that can really allow us to experience and express acceptance. Intimacy, when we are intimate, it asks us to look deep into ourselves and to face ourselves. And I know for me, there were lots of times before I went on, 20 years. I've been on this journey consciously for 20 years. And before that, there were parts of me I remember that would be afraid to look at me. So I spent a lot of time looking at other things and other people and everything outside of me. My conversations were outside of me. I got all involved in other people's business, whether it was political or social. I would get involved in everything else outside of me so that I didn't have to get intimate with me. And therefore, I didn't also allow people to get intimate with me because I didn't want them to see me because I was afraid. And, imposter syndrome is one of the things that many of us, especially those of us who are Black and racialized women, live with every day, right? The fear of being seen, the fear of allowing ourselves to be seen by ourselves, but also by others. It really requires that we completely embrace all of who we are right now, all the time. I am a woman. I am obviously a Black woman. Everybody can see that. But the other part of me, other than this Black woman, I'm a woman who laughs loud, right? I'm a woman who talks loud, but I'm also a woman who loves her quietness and her space. I love sometimes not to hear anything at all. So as loud as I can get is as quiet as I can get. And all of those things are true and they exist in the same place. Right? I am a woman who will eat all kinds of things and nothing. And all of those things are me. I'm a woman loving woman. My intimate partner is a woman. So I'm all of that too. I'm a spiritual activist, but I'm also an Ainania activist. Right? My biggest client is me. The person that I advocate most for is me, within me. So all of those things are who I am. I'm a small woman, I'm a short woman with a big personality sometimes. And sometimes a small. All of that is enough. I'm a woman that makes mistakes constantly. I misstep all the time. And when I misstep, sometimes, most of the times, I catch myself and I can probably repair. Sometimes I'm not able to. But all of these things are true about me. I'm a woman in almost 60 years old who sometimes still experience that little girl who was abandoned. And I can get back from her really quickly and I can give her lots of love sometimes so she feels good. All of that is all of who I am. I'm a brilliant coach. I'm a masterful teacher. I'm all of that, and I can be shy too. Yeah. So this space where we accept all of the pieces of who we are at all times is so important. It's that I am enough. I am enough in all of my complexities. I am beautifully complex. I don't read the Bible a lot, but there is one psalm that I love. And it's a Psalm, I think 108. I might have forgotten it. But what I love about it, it says, I have been made so beautifully complex, and yet I'm seen. And yet Most High sees me. Elodumarie sees me. And so I think that magnificence, that acceptance of who we are, that to be able to see inside of ourselves all of who we are and to embrace all of those parts of ourselves without conditions, without conditions. And so that place of intimacy. So I want to just pause for a moment before I introduce the other principle I want us to consider as we move into this acceptance. But before I go there, I also want to say that the more we accept ourselves, and I saw that somebody new came on, Hilda Ruth Chu. If you, I just want to make Hilda Ruth and Ifa Pitu. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, but I want to make sure that these are human beings on our Zoom.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Well, thank you so much. Yes. Thank you. Welcome. And so the more we accept ourselves and the more we become intimate with ourselves is the more we're able to allow others to see inside of us, to see us, all of us. It is the more then that we're able to accept other people. This idea that we can accept other people and other things but not accept ourselves is false. It is false, right? It's a story we make up so we can feel better. So then we are, as we accept ourselves, and I think a few of you said that before, the more we can accept what's going on outside of us. So any thoughts on all that we've talked about in terms of intimacy before I move on to that second principle that I want to share with you? Let me check the chat. Okay. All right. So you want me to continue? Yeah.
Yes.
So the second one is probably a more difficult one. And that is compassionate self-forgiveness. Compassionate self-forgiveness. Having that as a way of experiencing our life and experiencing ourselves, to constantly allow ourselves to forgive ourselves, therefore forgiving others. For me, in that space, once I was able to grasp that, to grasp this idea of forgiveness, first of myself, to be able to forgive myself. Forgiveness for me is about giving love, is about replacing judgment with love. This way of giving love to a thing, giving love to a person, giving love to a situation, replacing the judgment of it with love. And therefore, in that, being able to accept what is happening. Where there is judgment, we can see opportunity for acceptance. Why am I in judgment of this right now? Where is the opportunity for me to grow, to learn, to receive through acceptance? Experiencing the fear, because all of us still walk through the world at times in different ways, at different degrees, with a sense of fear. Sometimes it's huge, sometimes it's not, but fear comes into our experience. And to, within the fear, find love. Within the fear, find love. Find a place of love. And sometimes it's where we have to choose love. We have to say, I'm loving this feeling right now. I'm going to love this feeling of fear. I'm going to love it until it disappears. And I invite you to try that. It's the same thing that we can do with loss when we identify what is in this that where I can see love, where I can give love. Because there's usually just one of two things happening. There's a call for love and there's a call to love, right? The fear is asking us to love. And love comes through acceptance. Where anger, we can see our anger and see the passion in the anger. What if we were to rename that anger? This feeling of anger that comes up, what if we were to rename it? What would I rename it to be? And it's that other side of the continuum, which is passion. I'm feeling passion. I'm feeling passion for what's happening politically in the United States right now. And it feels angry. It's this really high passion. It's a passion for justice and it's a passion for truth. That takes me to anger. That makes it feel like anger. But I could rename it and I could reframe it. Yeah, I could. I could choose that. Where loss, we can see what might be gained in a loss, right? Where I lose something, I lose a partner, I lose a job, but there may be something to gain. There may be a greater part of me that is waiting to come forth. But I had to lose this thing emotionally, physically, financially, so that I can gain this other thing. You know, we give up this, Sufi says, we give up this life to gain 1,000 more. So in the loss, what is there that I can gain? I'm always looking at the opportunity, right? Releasing so we can receive. And the easiest and quickest example I can give is where we declutter, where we give away those clothes in our closet that no longer fits. These size 6 clothes that I might be holding onto when at this point I'm a size 10. Like it may not happen, right? So giving that away so I can go and shop for my size 10 clothes. It's simple and we can start there. So that releasing of things so we can gain other things. Releasing of relationship, we can gain the better relationship. Releasing of a thought so we can gain new thought that serves us better. Releasing of a way of being and making that sacrifice of release so that we can receive something that will take us to this next level. And this time also replacing the flight or fight choices within any experience to just being present to it. I share with you a story not too long ago, a couple of years ago. I was with my mother. And for those of you who don't know, my practice is African spirituality. I think you probably figured this out by now. I operate from a very non-colonial place often, right? Mostly, I try anyway. And I operate in a place where I can operate, work, and choose from the wisdom of my ancestors. Now, I come from a colonial space and a colonial family, and I'm in Jamaica and I'm with my mother. My poor mother is struggling with this, right? I love my mother, and she has accepted many things about me, but there are parts of me that she still struggles with. And she was really, really upset one day about my way of experiencing God and experiencing love and so on. And I remember feeling like, I just want to get out of here. So my flight got kicked in, right? Let me get out of here. I don't want to deal with this. Or trying to fight with her to try and convince her otherwise. Convince her of accepting who I am and how I am. And I made another choice. And the choice was to stay present with what was happening. And I said to myself, I'm going to give so much love to this. Over the next 7 days, I'm going to give. I think I had about 10 days left in my visit. And I said, I'm going to spend the next 7 days, because 7 is a powerful number. I'm going to spend the next 7 days just giving love. I'm going to stay present. I'm going to stay in the fire. The fire of what felt like my mother not accepting. That's the worst thing for anybody, right? All of us want our parents to accept us. No matter how old we are, we're looking for that acceptance. And so I'm going to stay present to this feeling of fear, anger, disapproval, all of that, disgust even. I'm going to stay in the fire, and I'm going to just give love to it. I'm going to give love to her. I'm going to give love to the situation. I'm going to muster all that I am to be in love and stay in the situation. This was not the first time I had put myself through that practice, but this time was significant because it was a hard one. And by day 3, I watched my mother shift. So our sister Nyase said it, right? That place where I'm always at, I can shift the situation. I have the power to shift the situation. But it begins with me. It begins with intimacy. It begins with forgiveness. And I remember by day 3 just watching that whole situation. It was so miraculous and so beautiful. And I continued until day 7. And it was really important to stay present, not to fight and not to flight, not to run, that flight or fight, not to run, but to be present and to stay in the situation. So I say we can make that choice too, right? We can stay. No fight, no flight, just stay. And then to bring courage to spaces where we feel shame. Because shame often goes with that not enoughness and lack of acceptance of ourselves or of situations or people. So having the courage to do that. And then to look at guilt, that feeling of guilt that vibrates so low. Guilt and shame are hugely low vibrations. It's very difficult to achieve anything when we're vibrating so low. And so to look at guilt, why am I feeling guilty about this? I sold guilt t-shirt a long time ago, but whenever it creeps in, I get the feeling that it's an opportunity for me to see the innocence in it. Yeah, to shift from this part of the continuum to the next place where there is innocence. And innocence means that I'm seeing it new. It means that I am being almost the age of my grandson, who is 3 years old, where it's innocence, where I'm seeing it new. You know, I watch my grandson, everything for him is new and exciting. So I move from this place of feeling guilty to this place of seeing what is new in this for me, this place of innocence. And moving from despair to light. And all of that takes work. I'm not saying any of these are easy, they take work. But what I'm doing is sharing some concepts with you that you can think about on how to shift from that place of non-acceptance to compassionate forgiveness. And then I want to share a practice with you that I share with the people I teach and myself, that I do for myself for years. But I want to take a pause there. I've been talking for a while as I share those tools with you, and just want to know if there are any questions or comments. Looking at the chat. I'm either clear as crystal or clear as mud. Okay.
I think what came up for me, I'm trying to multitask. As soon as you put up compassionate self-forgiveness, I found that it's always easier to be compassionate and forgiving of other people. And it's always easier to be compassionate and forgiving of the things that other people have done to you. But I feel like it's hard or difficult for me to be accepting and forgiving of the result of what was done to me. So how the things that were done to me show up in my character, in the way that I speak to myself, and in the way that I show intimacy to myself, it's harder for me to accept and forgive, or for me to forgive and show compassion towards myself, because those things were done to me by someone else. Those things are the result of the way someone else has treated me, whether it's when I was a kid or whether it's, I feel like that's where it's hard, or that's where I've had a little difficulty in. And I think it also comes with letting go of that, letting go of what was done. If I can forgive the people who've done it, then I should be able to let it go. I think I just have a difficulty when it comes to myself. And I think it has a huge deal with worthiness. It's always a tug of war with worthiness for me, because for a month I'll be into it. I will be focused on things that make me feel worthy, and I can, do the self-care things that are, material and that are more intimate. And then there's always that period of time where I experience someone who brings back up those feelings, because I have to, because of the relationship that I have to that person. I have to experience them, and it brings up back those feelings, whether they intend to or not, whether they intend to give me that feeling or not. It happens again, and it just sends you down a spiral of unworthiness, and a spiral of feeling like I'm not good enough. So all the other stuff you're doing, it's like, man, was it working? It was working during the time where I was doing it. But now that I'm experiencing this person again, or experiencing this person on a regular basis, how do I maintain that continuous self-compassion and as a practice, so that I don't, so when I'm exposed to it, or when that person exposes me to that, then I know how to recalibrate into that self-compassionate space, because it is hard. It is a
I,
hard thing to do.
yeah. I don't think you're alone in that, Kamisha. And it's truly is a practice. It truly is a practice until you get to that place where it no longer affects you. And I know you will get there because I've been there. But it's not something that we do sometimes and then we stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's practicing to that place where there is complete release, where you can be in that situation and it's like it doesn't happen because you have released from your body.
Mm-hmm.
It's because the body remembers is what's going on.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
body the body remembers the pain. So the work is around getting it out of our body as well.
Mm.
It's getting the trauma, because what it is trauma. And
Mm-hmm.
it's getting that trauma out of our body, and it takes consistency. It takes consistent work. Our ancestors say that there are some trauma for us that can only be healed through rituals,
Mm.
because it's so deep, and sometimes it's ancestral as well, right? It didn't just start with the experience that you had. It started before that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there are some things that can only be done through ritual. I offer that I don't know that I've ever shared this with you. You've been in the presence of, but that 70 by 7 self-forgiveness that I encourage people to do is one of the most powerful ways of getting that out of your body. Because what is really happening, I see Julia has said something, so I want to make sure that I am. Thanks to Vera for sharing. Vera shared that, and I get back to you, but I just want to read what Vera has shared. Vera is sharing, thanks for sharing your approach, decision to love. Mother's reaction. Okay. How do we know how long to stay in that place where we accept and stay present in the face that we perceive as negativity? So I'm going to respond to that, Vera. And there's another question. I was thinking the same, where we draw between acceptance or compassion and staying in an abusive situation. So let me I think I can answer all three of your question, Kamisha, what I think is a question, and what Julia and Vera are both saying. So first of all, we should never stay in an abusive situation. If we're experiencing abuse, I say we exit the situation, right? So when I talk about fight or flight, I'm not talking about, I was not experiencing abuse. If I felt it was abusive, I would have left. I do not stay. No one, no woman, no child, no person should stay in abusive situations. If you're experiencing abuse, get some support and leave. If you don't feel you're courageous enough, the more you bring love to yourself, the more you bring peace to yourself, is the more you will get the courage to exit the situation, right? So, and I do not assume that people who are in abusive situation have the tools and the wherewithal to exit immediately, right? Sometimes it's not that simple, and so you have to work your way and get the support you need to exit. So, having said that, I think that's important that I address that. But where we are in situations that we are trying to change, and the question is asked, then how long do you stay, right? I've been doing this work for a very long time, so I have some tools that I use to get there. Why I say stay, be present with it to see what is the lesson for you, right? 7 days, I'd say 7 days. Sometimes it's 9, sometimes it's longer. I came up with 7 days because 7 days seem to have been the thing that works for me. I've tried this many, many times, and 7 days work, but it could be 3. And what I'm trying to do is to consciously commit myself to love, to test love. And I'm talking about unconditional love, to take ourselves to a place of unconditional love. And in that moment, like Zaida talked about, you can be accepting of something happening right now, right here, this situation. And in that same day, there's another situation where you're not yet in acceptance, you know? But in this place where we're saying we're in acceptance, we are saying, I am giving love. What would love look like? And I invite you all to do this right now. What would love look like if I were to receive love for something that hurts, for a place of hurt? What would it look like? What would it feel like? And give that to yourself. And give that to the situation. And keep giving it to yourself and the situation, and watch. We have another baby. And watch the shift happen. You're creating a miracle right there. Hi. You're creating a miracle right there. So watch that happen. And I'm willing to talk about this some more. So that's one, right? What would love look like? How would it show up for me? What would it feel like? What would I want to have happen right now so I can feel love? If my mother was not to share this experience of disapproval and anger and rejection for me, if I can understand that what is happening for my mother is really her projection of herself on me, her projection of her belief system on me, her projection of her own fear. What would it mean to not be colonial? What would it mean to go against everything that I believed? What would it be to not accept these things I was taught and to really stand in something else? That's the projection. She was projecting that on me because she didn't know how to deal with that. So if I could see that and say, okay, this is projection, And in this projection that looks like disapproval, anger, disappointment, all of that, I am going to give love. And somebody said, what would love look like? It would look like a hug. Then give a hug. Give a hug. Give a hug to yourself and give a hug to that person. Two things are always happening: a call for love and a call to love. A call for love and a call to love. So give that. And you choose how long you want to do that. It might be 3 days, but it's a test of your own power. It's a test of your own power. But you can't get there unless you accept yourself. So I couldn't be able to do that if I didn't accept and be very comfortable and clear with myself as an African spiritualist. I'm very comfortable with that. And so I show up everywhere, anyhow, all the time as an African spiritualist. Now, if there's disagreement around that it has nothing to do with me. That's their disagreement. But I've accepted that about myself. And it took me a while too, right? It didn't just happen overnight. I've accepted that I am very committed to non-colonial ways of being. I've accepted that about myself. I accept that I do rituals and I do practices of my ancestors because it works for me and it makes me feel good. So these are self-acceptance. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we have to also accept that, accept ourselves, accept who we are. Now, with the place around the trauma that comes up again, Kamisha, I'm going to offer everyone this practice. If you've been in my experience, you know this is my favorite place. And it's called 70 by 7 Compassionate Self-Forgiveness. And it is where we take ourselves through a series of rituals that supports us in forgiving our judgments on something that needs to be forgiven. Not the person. Somebody did me this. Well, somebody's not doing you that today. So what is the judgment that you have about that experience? And so you're forgiving the judgment. So for instance, the statement would be, because it's 70 statements you're going to write. The statement is, I forgive myself for judging myself as. I forgive myself as judging myself as. So probably thing that comes up is as unworthy. So you're saying the person is making you feel unworthy, but you actually are judging yourself as unworthy. I forgive myself of judging myself as unworthy. I forgive myself for judging myself as not brilliant enough. I forgive myself for judging myself as not being colonial enough. I forgive myself for judging myself as not being rich enough. I forgive myself as judging myself as not being big enough. I forgive myself for judging myself as not being skinny enough. I forgive myself for judging myself as not whatever it is that comes up for you, because it's a judgment on the situation. It's a non-acceptance of the situation. Even though somebody did you something. Because there are 4 levels of consciousness. The first is victimhood. When we say somebody did us something, is a victim consciousness. So you're trying to release the victim consciousness so you can move to the next consciousness, right? Which is an empowerment consciousness. To the next consciousness, which is an inspiration consciousness. Which to the next consciousness, which is a liberation consciousness. And in that liberation consciousness, we're free. We're free of judgment. And we accept. So I forgive myself for judging myself as. You complete that statement. You do 35 of that in the morning, 35 in the evening. 35 plus 35 equals 70. And you do that for 7 days consecutively. If you skip a day, you start again. What you're trying to do is to cleanse yourself. You're cleansing yourself of these things that is in your consciousness, that is also in your body. It's the cheapest way to get the thing out of your body. And it works. It's a cheap fix, right? I would really encourage you to go and get your massage and so on and body work so you can get the thing out of your body. But this helps, right? Until you can get to the massage therapist, or until you can get to the acupuncturist, or you can get to the. In the evening, when you do your last 35, you also do 11 statements that starts with, I appreciate myself for. I appreciate myself for being courageous enough today to not accept abuse. I appreciate myself for loving myself enough today to go for a walk, to drink my water. Whatever it is, the simplest and the largest thing. Nothing is insignificant. And so you end your evening with self-appreciation. You're going to have 2 different books. One for the forgiveness, which can be a dollar store thing, and one that is a journal of appreciation.
I'm in a class.
And you take yourself through 7 days of that consecutively. If you skip a day, you start again. Love yourself enough to take yourself through this ritual. It is the cheapest thing. Anybody who has ever done any process with me, they always get this assignment because it is the cheapest thing you could do to really get the trauma out of your body. When you are done with your 70 by 7, you are going to do a beautiful ritual, a fire ritual, and you're going to burn those statements. And you're going to watch yourself burn those statements and allow yourself to experience what you feel as you burn those statements. And then take a nice walk or drive or whatever and come back and journal on what you experienced. These are self-help tools. It's a fire ritual that you're putting yourself through. You're doing 2 things. You're handwriting, so do not write them, do not digitally do it, because the energy of the handwriting is part of the healing, right? So you're moving it out of your body. These are basic things that our ancestors have taught us. These are non-colonial practices that actually do heal. So you're handwriting it. Then you're going to do a fire ritual, which is one of the most powerful rituals. You don't need nobody to do that with you. You don't need an intercessor. You can do it yourself. The appreciation is critical because what that is doing is sending love into the places that you just released. Because when we release something, it creates a vacuum. What we want to do is fill that vacuum with love. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? And the more you do this practice, I still do it. I've been teaching this for 20 years and I still do it for myself because sometimes I just need to get that shit out now. Right? And so I have to just cleanse myself. I have to cleanse myself. It's like doing a physical cleanse. Gonna cleanse yourself. Yes, my sister. I see your hand up. Yes.
Oh, I think her hand was up before mine.
Who else's hand is up? I don't see another hand.
I had my hand raised, but yeah, so why don't you go first and then I will ask my question.
Okay.
Maybe we have the same question.
Okay. Yes, so thank you for that share, sister. I wanted to say auntie, but sister came out. Auntie, sister, same thing. So I'm familiar with with this exercise, with this ritual. I haven't done it fully, but I love myself enough to start again and forgive myself for not completing it, and being reminded that this is a tool that I can add to my arsenal of all these wonderful rituals that we're all blessed with, and that I take with me and receive it. So one aspect of this ritual is to actually do it in the mirror. I don't know if anybody's familiar with mirror work, but if you do if I may add a
Yes, of
suggestion,
course, of course.
doing the 35 in the, I mean, it sounds like it could be cumbersome, but doing the 35, and then doing the 11 in the mirror helps even like amplify it, because you're looking into the eyes of your soul.
Yes.
And when you're able to face yourself, looking at the man, looking at the woman in the mirror, Michael Jackson said it best, right? That's where the change can really amplify, when you're actually looking in the face of your soul. So that's just a little tweak, little suggestion for those who might want.
Absolutely. That is powerful. I use that for another piece that I do, but that is, if you feel confident that you can do that, but make sure you write it so you get it out of your body.
Right.
What you can do is that 11 in the mirror, because if you write your 11, then you go to the mirror and you say it, and then you can say the 11 in the mirror throughout the day.
Right.
Right? Just because the supporting of appreciating yourself, in all the years I've been doing this practice, women always say to me, it's harder to do the appreciation.
Ooh.
Right? Because we are so hard on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We're so hard on ourselves, so we often don't, it's so difficult to come up with things that we appreciate about ourselves. But thanks a lot for that. The mirror piece is critical. It's really, really good. If you can manage it, it's very good. It will be more profound. And my sister Inyasa, I'm holding you to that. You're gonna do it this time, yeah?
I certainly am going to. I'm ready. We're ready.
We're ready. And Julia, you had a comment, and then we're gonna close out.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. Those 35 statements in the morning and in the evening, the statements of forgiveness, they can, do they have to be different every time? Or, well, I would expect there will be a lot of repetition, right? So that's why we are doing it every day. And
Absolutely. And listen, you might have a day where you say the same thing over and over. And what you're going to find also is things are going to come up that is currently happening in your life. Right? And things are going to come up that is past. And you will get to day 3 and it will be really hard. You're like, what the shit? Anania, I hate you. Why did you have me do this? I don't want to do this, right? You're going to throw the book away probably. I would encourage you to continue. But I am not telling you it's easy. If you go deep, if you really practice intimacy with this, it could be difficult.
Yeah.
If you're just doing it on a surface, it may not affect you at all. But if you are also practicing intimacy, it could be difficult. I will hold space for you over this next 30 days. I'm holding space for you, and pray and trust that you practice this. I'm glad that Kamisha shared what she shared, because it helped me to remember to share that piece with you. So I wish you all the best. We are at 11:24. We're committed to end at 11:15. Today went a little longer. So I am grateful that you stayed with us, that you stayed with it. It's always an honor. We are committed to peace, and to this peace movement. And thank you so much for coming. What did Kamisha say? Just one sec. I just want to.
Sarah had also asked if we burn the I appreciate myself statements.
If we?
Sarah, ask your question.
Oh, do we burn the judgment statements alone, or do we burn the appreciation statements as well?
You keep the appreciation statement. You
And
burn
only burn the judgment statement.
only the judgment statement.
Okay.
Yes. So thank you. Thank you again. Let's just take a nice deep breath in together. Actually, I want to do a fire breath to close us out. So right where you are, we're going to take a nice deep inhale and we're going to push that breath out. So anything that came up in our body through this, we're going to just let it out in the fire breath. So nice deep breath in. Another deep breath in. One more. For those who can't do this, we're doing it for them. Deep breath. Women, if nobody told you today, I'm telling you, I love you. Please come back, stay in touch with us. You have our contact, you have our connect. Share the word, share this with women you know. Spotlight a woman, send us a note and share a woman you want to spotlight. And we're going to do our best to get them on. We have a YouTube channel coming out for Women for Peace because we want to get the word out and to bring more and more of us in peace, especially as we're in the midst of huge political wars. And we know what's going on in the world. I won't have to talk about it. Love you so much. Take good care of yourself. Peace be with you. Thank you. Thank you, Mikhailo.
You're welcome, Pia.
Annie and everybody for sharing.
Okay.
Thank you. This was wonderful.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Come back, Julia. Come back.
Thank
will.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'm lifted. I'm
Sending you
lifted.
lots of love.
Thank you. Peace be with you all.